Greetings, I'm Eddie Muller here at Bar 355 in Oakland with another installment of Noir Alley. Moral ambiguity is one of the hallmarks of film noir, and today's offering, Armored Car Robbery, has absolutely none of it. This B picture, released by RKO in 1950, is a straight no-chasers, cops and robbers melodrama. So even though it's easy to tell the good guys from the bad guys in Armored Car Robbery, the overall tone of the film and the terrific work of cinematographer Guy Rowe definitely stain this 67-minute programmer as genuinely noir. I'm also showing it because I love it, and it's part of a sensational run of 6 crime pictures directed by Richard Fleischer in the late 40s and early 50s, a series of B movies that kick-started his career as one of Hollywood's most reliable directors. I showed his 1949 feature Follow Me Quietly earlier this year, and today's movie was made only months later. And while Fleischer's direction is as good as anybody could have done under the time and budget constraints, what really sets this film apart is its cast. Over on the crooked side, you've got a litter of lowlifes familiar to B-movie fans. The debonair but slightly threadbare Douglas Fowley, loyal but lunk-headed Gene Evans, shifty second banana Steve Brody, and the dishy and reliably duplicitous Adele Jurgens. This motley crew fills in the ringside seats quite colorfully during the main event, which is a slugfest between 2 film noir heavyweights, granite-jawed Charles McGraw as relentless copper Sergeant Jim Cordell, and reptilian wise guy William Tallman as criminal mastermind Dave Purvis. As my pal Alan Rohde likes to say, it's the film noir equivalent of King Kong versus Godzilla. Except this being a manhunt thriller, the 2 guys never actually have any scenes together. This was the film that set McGraw up for his starring role in The Narrow Margin, which would be filmed in 1950, but not released until 1952. A long, crazy story I've told before. Although he played a few leads at RKO during a period when the studio was really hurting, McGraw never became a leading man. His face and voice were just too distinctive, too genuinely tough to get him more than featured roles, which he had in such exceptional later films as Spartacus, The Birds, and In Cold Blood. As for William Tallman, making only his 4th film here, he played so many bug-eyed psychos during the early 1950s that it's astounding he'd become most known for his long-running role as D.A. Hamilton Berger on the classic TV series Perry Mason. I've shown many Richard Fleischer movies on Noir Alley, more than any other director. So today, I'm going to mention his writing partner on 7 films they made together, Earl Felton. He'd been stricken with polio as a young boy and never regained the use of his legs. But that didn't stop him from having a successful career as a Hollywood screenwriter. Starting in 1936, he wrote a stream of B films, gaining a rep for snappy lines and clever script fixing. Beginning with the script for Trapped, a tough T-Man saga made for Eagle Lion in 1949, Felton became a lucky charm for Richard Fleischer, who demanded him as the writer on his next half-dozen films. Fleischer recalled Felton as a world-class character, a cynical, hard-drinking paraplegic who disdained a wheelchair, preferring to navigate around town with a crutch and a cane, which he often used to beat people who tried to help him. Far from feeling sorry for himself, Felton became a connoisseur of cruel misfortune and a man of prodigious appetites. Dialogue was his forte, and Fleischer cherished Felton's turns of phrase, even if they were produced at a snail's pace. Working with Felton, Fleischer said, was like waiting for maple sap to drip into a bucket, but it was so delicious once you got it. Well, I showed Armored Car Robbery at the very first Film Noir Festival I hosted 25 years ago, and Dick Fleischer was the guest of honor. He hadn't seen it since it wrapped post-production in 1950, and he was terribly nervous about seeing it for the first time. I'm afraid I'll be embarrassed, he told me before the lights went down. Afterward, he smiled and said, "Not bad. Gotta say, not bad for a kid just starting out." I think you will find that a modest understatement. Here is Armored Car Robbery.